In this demo, we're going to demonstrate the new feature of the F16V2 and the F16V2R that allows you to control one receiver, which is 4 strings up to 250 feet away, coming from the jack number 1 or DMX output number 1. In this diagram, we show or indicate how the serial ports, which are on the F16V2 or R, how they are connected to the different connectors. Connector 1 has all 4 serial ports. The controller has 4 serial ports, and it utilizes a quad driver to drive those 4 serial ports. And you see that connector 1, this connector in the lower right here, is connected to all 4. So you'll have all 4 pairs of data coming off of that connector. Serial port 2 is connected to port 2, and serial port 3 is connected to port 3 and 4 to 4. So that's just respectively. But that first port is a special port, and it was designed to output PixelNet, but we're going to leverage that fact and send 4 streams of pixel data out differentially out that first port to a receiver board, which could be up to 250 feet away. In order to do that, you go to the serial outputs page, and under the type, you set it to string data. The first pair, or the first pair uses the string 13's data. The second uses strings 14, 15, and 16 respectively. So in this case, we've just turned on, after we hit the save button, of course, we just turned on the ability to send out string 13, 14, 15, and 16's data out that first port. So if we go ahead and put on in test mode, you'll see that the light will start to correspond to whatever test mode we have. We'll go ahead and set RGB white, and you'll see it'll start blinking RGB white. And this cable here, is only about 5-6 feet just for demonstration purposes, but we have tested up to 250 feet away. So that's kind of how you implement that. Now, it is worth noting that on the serial ports page, you don't have to make it to where all 4 of these pairs, because notice right now, if you look at the diagram, I'm outputting strings 13 through 16 respectively out on ports 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, ports 2, 3, and 4 that are connected to the other 3 jacks are now outputting string data. So that might not be necessarily what you want, especially if you have some DMX fixtures in the yard. So you can, let's say, turn one of them off, let's say port 4, you can set that to DMX. And then when you do that, DMX will then output on this jack right here, and you'll have 3 strings of data coming out on connector 1. And then you'd be able to use 3 ports 1, 2, and 3 off the receiver, but not all 4, because the 4th one is outputting DMX. So that's kind of how that works. It's pretty simple to use. It's worth noting that pixel data 13 through 16 is used when you're in 16 string mode. But if you were to go to the string ports and set the mode with the expansion board and save that, you'll notice that now on the serial ports, its outputs 29, 30, 31, and 32 respectively. So basically it'll use the last 4 ports if you're in 16 string mode, or the last 4 ports if you're in 32 string mode, and then you would go into the string ports. Wrong thing. Go into the string ports, and that's where you would set the different parameters. So in this case, I would set the string count and so forth for ports 29 through 32. And I'll do that now. If we go ahead and click on this one and set it to 10%, and then hit save, you should see a decrease in brightness. And you see how the brightness did decrease. So, since I have it connected to port 1, it's string 29 that controls that port. And you don't lose the ports that are on in this case, if you had a 32-bit expansion board, you don't lose that port. It would just be mimicking 29 through 32 would just be mimicking what's going out the serial port here, or the serial port jack. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video.